So, hey, and welcome back to the LAN Party podcast. Today, I'd like to introduce Ryan, who is going to tell you a bit more about himself, but he is a master at esports. He's been in the industry for a while, and I think he's got quite a lot of projects going on. So, Ryan, do you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. And first off, appreciate you all for having me. It's my first international podcast.
Amazing.
I feel kind of special about this. My name is Ryan Johnson. I've worked full time in esports. I'm going on probably 24 months full time. But before that, I've been a gamer and sports enthusiast and music enthusiast my whole life. So kind of what drew me to work within esports is kind of the perfect combination of traditional sports, music, and traditional entertainment kind of all meets in the middle. And like gaming is like that perfect ingredient that brings it all together, or like that glue that kind of brings it all together.
Yeah.
So I graduated college originally in 2015. I got a degree in physical therapy and actually have not done a single thing in physical therapy to that day. My first job out of school, I was doing technology sales, like literally door to door selling like voice over IP to like businesses.
No way.
Yeah, so I did that for roughly a year, and that's where I first got like my initial grind. I would say as far as like actually getting out every single day and being active and doing the same task.
Yeah.
So it kind of planted a fire in me. So I did that for about a year and some change. Shortly after that, I stepped into a IT consulting role with a company here in Atlanta. And so I did cloud infrastructure, data infrastructure, cybersecurity, a lot of different projects for corporate organizations. So it was really cool experience. Like, although I never wanted to work in tech, I've always had like an understanding or an appreciation for technology.
Yeah.
So just by being able to work in those first two jobs, it kind of just opened my eyes to one, how do you do business development and like customer experience at a very, very high level? So shortly, actually, in November of 2018, I quit corporate America. I went back to school full time to get my master's in sports administration. So basically, for all of the end of 2018 and all of 2009, well, majority of 2019, I was kind of just freelancing it.
Yeah.
I worked with a group called Rise Ventures and did a lot of their esports programming. But to kind of like speed up to where things are to date. So full time, I work for Revel Marketing. I do their brand sponsorships and brand partnerships, specifically around our esports properties. So that would include like the esports awards. You guys may be familiar with that because I was in the UK previous to this past year. We work with groups like the esports awards, MomoCon, Allied Esports. Let's see. I mean, we're doing some things now with the Game Awards. So kind of the list goes on and on.
Yeah, really big names in there. Yeah.
So my job with Revel is to work with brands, or non-endemic brands or endemic brands, and help them integrate or sponsor these different esports events. So that's full time on paper. So now kind of like diving deeper into like what I do for myself. I also have a company called Nexus Entertainment and Sports. We are a talent and event management company, so we manage hip-hop, R&B artists here in Atlanta, and then we also curate a bi-monthly emerging showcase for independent talent here in the city as well. So we put on shows with our business Nexus, and then also we have a nonprofit called Cxmmunity. Mm-hmm. And so Cxmmunity's focus specifically is around raising awareness around esports and education, but particularly for minority students. So when you look at esports, the landscape as a whole, right, and I'm kind of telling my own testament, I would go to like a leadership summit, going to these different conferences. I'm one of the only few people that look like myself in the room, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then when you look at esports from a high school, collegiate, and then even professional level, I'm not saying that this was done intentionally by any means, but there is a lack of diversity, both when you look at minorities and then also when you look at women and or female players, right, on the professional circuit. Yeah. So what Cxmmunity does is we're actually raising awareness. We, on behalf of underfunded schools and overlooked youth, we'll actually procure technology for these different schools. And then we'll put the tech inside of their schools. We have developed a curriculum to actually help teach and bring the kids up to speed and also the staff. Because there's a lot of people that don't get to enjoy the benefits that we all get to claim of the amazingness of esports, right?
Yeah.
So basically through our nonprofit of community, we're trying to solve that problem, both on the high school and collegiate level, and then even the professional level for different minorities.
That's incredible. That's such an amazing mission you've got going there.
Yeah,
Like you
it's
said,
been a journey. It's been a very, very fun process, but thankfully, you know, the industry is very receptive. Like, I've gained my entire life, and I'm
yeah,
sure you guys have done the same. So whether you're on PlayStation, PC, or Xbox Live, right, no one really cares about your race, your height, your gender. I mean, you're just playing the game, and if you're good at the game,
yeah,
so now, like, literally my whole vision moving forward is bringing that light and that awareness to everyone within the gaming industry. So that's
yeah.
kind of like what I'm focused on these days.
It's amazing. It's like you say, gaming is it's really such an inclusive community. There's a game out there for everyone and different platforms for everyone. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like, whatever it is. So yeah, that's amazing. I love it.
I appreciate
Could you tell
it.
us, how did you get into gaming?
Say it again, I'm sorry?
Could you tell us, how did you get into gaming?
Oh, how did I get into it?
Yeah.
So probably when I was very, very young, quick background. I was born in South Carolina. I was raised in Maryland. So majority of my family's in South Carolina. Every summer, my mom would just drop me off at my grandma's house for about a month. And all of my cousins in South Carolina were just like gang. We would play like Sega Genesis, Power Rangers.
Nice.
We would play like the Jurassic Park games. We would always play like NBA Jam, just like the old school.
Yeah.
And that really just matriculated through my whole life. So I was traditionally Sony, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. And then when Halo 2 dropped, like my life changed forever. And then like I've been on Xbox ever since. So like to date, the only games I really, really still play is probably like the NBA 2K franchises. And like I'm big on Battlefield.
Yeah.
Like Battlefield 5 is my game. Like I'll probably play that 4 or 5 hours today.
Yeah, that game is good.
Oh,
That is a great game. I've got it.
Have you tried the new Call of Duty?
Yeah, I mean, I have.
Because they've got that kind of, they're trying to sneak into Battlefield, aren't they?
Yes, they're trying to do a little bit too much. I think like Call of Duty should just like stay Call of Duty and like let that Battlefield be Battlefield.
Yeah.
Because I think if Call of Duty tries to keep taking these bits and pieces, they're just going to be a lesser version of Battlefield. So it's like just stay in your own lane kind of thing.
Yeah. Stay in the lane where you just leg it in, the biggest gun possible. And
Yeah. They just need to bring back quick scoping, in my opinion. That's the only thing that's missing, in my opinion, from that game now. I love it.
Yeah, no. But no, so that's kind of how I got into it. I mean, I've played traditional sports, so my whole thing has always been music, basketball, video games, like ever since I was a kid. So if I wasn't playing games, I was at basketball practice or at a basketball game, and then vice versa. And then music was kind of the thing that always stayed consistent, like between the both. So I've always said I wanted to figure out a way where I could use those talents, my passion, to like make money playing video games, music, and basketball. Like,
What was the first time you discovered that esports is something that you want to do full time?
It was probably when I got into graduate school. So after I got into the Master's in Sports Administration program at Georgia State, it really opened up my eyes to different professions within sports, because I was pretty narrow focused on wanting to work solely within like the NBA or collegiate basketball. So then when I just started hearing more stories about like my classmates who are into like equestrian or the NHL or swimming, like it literally just kind of started widening my horizons. And of course, being in Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta is one of the top esports cities in North America. And we're the first city to have an official esports council under our sports commission. So now we actually have a formalized group that's going to be working to bring things like league champions to Atlanta, Georgia, like Call of Duty World Series championships. So long-winded way of answering your question is just all the actual professional opportunities here within the local city, right? Because I've always been kind of more on that casual side. But it was like, look, now, again, kind of going back to my opening statement, is like you can work in an industry where you necessarily don't have to pick between entertainment, music, and sports, because The lane that I chose specifically is that I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm 100% esports as much as I am 100% the intersection of all of those emerging industries kind of meeting in the middle. Because we take elements of both and we kind of plug and play where we see fit. But esports, I just say, is kind of like that perfect middle ground of everything.
Yeah, it does seem a lot of people I've been talking to have got into esports. They do seem to have come from one of these kind of other like media or events or something. And it just, like you said, it all just works together. You've got the music, you've got the events, you've got the technology all running into it.
Yeah. I mean, would you say it's a tough industry? Was it a tough industry to get into? And would you consider it still a tough industry?
I would, to answer your question differently, I would say sports is a tough industry to get into, right? Because when I was working in tech, when you don't have any experience, and I'm sure this holds true within esports, right? When you don't have experience, even though you still may have that skill set, a lot of people are hesitant to want to offer up opportunities. So for me, going back to my statement of why I quit corporate America was that I've been applying for sports-related jobs for roughly 3 years and would get no call back or no email back. So I literally took the route of quitting my path and like getting into a sports program, which would then kind of change the narrative of me like actually applying to these different positions. So I would say getting esports could be challenging just because the opportunity seems smaller right now than traditional sports across all the major big leagues. But I think it's just one of those industries where if you could just prove to a couple of good people that are CEOs or team owners or general managers that you have solid work ethic, that you're a solid person, like you go to the dream hacks of the world, you go to E3, you actually like meet them. I think that's where opportunities become more realistic. But I do think it's pretty difficult to like right now jump into esports just because the demand is so high. People that are applying for these jobs have done something of their own nature, like in the past. So like coming straight off the street cold and say, hey, you want to get into esports could be pretty difficult if you haven't like done some like, ancillary work to prove your work, for lack of better words.
And I think this is something that your nonprofit is going to really help with, kind of educating these kids in how to get into esports and like how it actually works and how you can benefit all these different organizations.
Yeah, for sure.
I was saying the other day that there isn't any actual real education around esports at the moment. So to actually get in there, it seems that a lot of people have come from media backgrounds. They've already been working within media or events for 10, 15 years. Or they're people like Siddhas who have created their own team at like 12 or 14 years old. Right. And then they've just been able to like kind of push their way in eventually. So yeah,
I'm definitely the push your way in kind of a guy.
Yeah. But it's crazy because there's nothing like this in any other industry. Like when I think about, I'm more around marketing and design, you go to school, you maybe go to university or something, and then you can pretty much get a job. You can kind of just get into it, and you don't really decide what you want to do until you're 18, 20 or something like that. Whereas esports, it seems you need to start at 10 years old and be like, yeah, I want to do esports.
It's like either you grow up in it or you find a way to kick down a door and then you make yourself present.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys, especially like the industry leaders, they talk about they've been doing it 15, 20, 25 years, especially like the founders of MLG, like Sundance and all these guys. So it's like when you come, I think you just have to come correct. And then when the opportunities presented, you just have to like execute. Because again, with the industry being so new, a lot of these organizations are new as well. So people don't have time to necessarily like roll the dice or like hand out multiple chances or opportunities. So it's just like when the opportunity is in front of you, you just got to grab it, manage it, and do an amazing job. So that way, more and more opportunities that keep coming your way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So how do you think gaming and esports has evolved since you first discovered it?
Well, how it's changed as a whole, just from my perspective, and I would say this from like a Rebel side of things, I can see amount of interest from non-endemic brands increasing. The amount of people that are not in esports that want to be in it. The people that hit me up on LinkedIn just to have a quick conversation about getting their product in the esports because, you know, highly engaged millennials, well-groomed Gen Zers is kind of like all these buzzwords I listen to all day long. But I would say what's changing quickly is probably the commercialization of it, at least in North America, because I'm not very familiar with the esports scene across the pond. But at least here in North America, right, a lot of these big brands are now trying to find ways to integrate, whether it be physically or digitally, into different programming series like streaming in real life and or like, again, big events like MomoCon, DreamHack, or E3. They want to have a presence now. So I would say from a commercial standpoint, that's what's changing the most is non-endemics wanting to enter into the space. But I would say just from my perspective, because this is probably where I spend the most time, is the opportunities on the academic side, right? So I would say one of the biggest opportunities I foresee within esports is funny because I think like out of any other sport, they probably started backwards, right? They're usually sports start in the middle school level, then it goes like high school, collegiate. But when you look at esports, it's backwards. It's just professional, and then the collegiate and high school and middle school have to catch up to for the actual like professional side. Yeah. So I think the largest opportunity is like actually building that pipeline from middle school to high school to collegiate to professional, just like you would do for the NFL, the MLS, and or MLB. And then the opportunity is even greater when you talk about the pipeline for the kids who aren't being talked about right now, right? Yeah. So absolutely. Schools that have funds, they can participate, and the ones that don't, they're just left off the conversation. So ideally is like, I get excited because I know for a fact there's not a lot of people like targeting or catering to what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. It's quite interesting how you mentioned about all the like college and everything, because I think there's only actually one university in the UK that is currently providing an esports education. So you're coming in and you go there for 3 years and actually do a degree in esports. I don't know if you have anything necessarily in the US, because I don't know a massive amount your side.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I want to say, don't quote me on this, but last time I looked, it was roughly 60. I want to say it's probably closer to 80 or 90 universities in North America now have like esports related like studies that you can go to. So ironically enough, and this may be new to you guys, are you familiar with the term HBCU? But HBCU basically stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. So if you look like the history of America, Black people basically had to set up their own colleges to get an education, yada, yada. So at the end of the day, when you look at North America, all of the schools that have esports programming on the college level are what they consider PWIs, or primarily white institutes. Okay. So when you look at the HBCU route in North America, currently none of those universities have esports programs, esports clubs. Well, they may have clubs, but no official team and no official like curriculum. Yeah. So one of my board members for Cxmmunity, he's actually developed the first curriculum to be taught at an HBCU in North America, and he starts teaching that class next Tuesday. Awesome. So now what we're going to start doing is actually building out that pipeline. So if you now in totality look at what we're doing is we're going into the underserved school, the ones that aren't being touched or tapped financially to be able to get into esports. And then we're also working with the historically Black colleges and universities basically to start having a pipeline for these kids to actually then want to go to high school and then go to a college that could be familiar to them. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, that's where I really see the biggest opportunity or the most change within esports is going to be kind of like just the raising of awareness and creation of opportunities for those that currently don't have it. Yeah.
And it's developing out that, I guess, that conversation as well, starting the conversation that you can get into esports. It's not this impossible task. Exactly. There is an opportunity. So through this education, you can learn how to coach a team or whatever. You don't have to be the perfect player necessarily, because it's not all about players either, is it? It's about how you run events, how you coach teams, how you
market all the team behind it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's the thing a lot of people don't talk about in esports either, is everything else behind it. They just go, well, these are the pro players and these are the top teams, and they kind of just somehow get together in a big hall and play an awesome game.
Yeah, so we really focus on that multidisciplinary approach within gaming. You know, there's about 30 to 40 different professions, just like in any other professional sport, right? Like you said, there's coaches, there's owners, there's managers, there's psychologists, there's dietitians, there's, commentary. The list kind of goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what we do is we kind of focus on that multidisciplinary approach to say, well, look, if you're a player and that's your route, awesome. But if you're not, here's all the other different career paths that you can take within esports. Yeah. But then even for us, like esports is kind of the focus, but at the same time, we're trying to help these kids get jobs in traditional sports and entertainment as well.
Yeah.
So it really, really, it provides some great opportunities for our program participants.
Yeah, it's kind of transferable skills. Would you say, so it seems like you've taken quite a nod from traditional esports to create this program, I guess. Would you say there are any particular roles that are very specific to esports?
You said roles as far as it's like,
as like a job goes. Is there anything that really is an esports only job?
I would say probably the only job that in esports where like it's only esports focused is probably a coach and the player, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're a player, you clearly have to be esports to be good enough to be in the game, and a coach to be able to coach it. When you look at all the other ancillary roles that go on around those two prime roles, those are transferable skills. When you look at the leaders of these commissioners of these leagues, they're coming from the NFL. A mental health expert is well versed in many fields outside of esports and marketing and human resources. So I really think the core competencies around esports jobs is probably the players and the coaches, because they can't BS anyone, right?
No.
Either you know how to play, you know how to coach, or you don't.
Yeah, you can't go from the NBA to doing NBA 2K.
Exactly.
I'm pro.
But you could go from working in basketball operations to team operations within esports, So that's very a transferable skill set.
Yeah, running a team is it's running a team, isn't it? However, whatever industry, you could go from basketball to NFL and it's still going to be running a team.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of those nuances will be different, but the core competency. But if you put a damn team owner and it's like, hey, play League of Legends versus team, you'll get exposed super quick.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess moving on from that a little bit is how do you kind of promote yourself? So if you were, say, once you've been through the program that you're creating, how would you then promote yourself to be able to get into these roles? Like, what do you think is the entry point?
So for us, and when you say you're talking about the program participants, or are you talking about me particularly?
Mainly, I would say maybe. Should we start with the program participants?
Cool. Yeah. So basically what we do is once we work with the school, we start developing relationships. And again, once you've been in esports, like a very, very small community.
Yeah.
So a lot of it, I wish I could say it was like I had some magic formula, but a lot of it is really just like actually having the awareness and keeping your ear to the street and say like, hey, I heard there's this job opening. And then you kind of just say, hey, look, I have a couple of students that would be interested to intern or work. And then like you're just passing resumes back and forth, right? So like we don't have a magic code to what we're doing. It's basically like hustling and making connections where we can see fit. So I would say like the next step the first step is bring them in. Second step is connect them and actually help them make some money to then say like, oh crap, like I can make money like in this video.
I can do this. This is an option.
Exactly. Yeah. And then and what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
So yeah, I guess you pretty much answered it. So how are you promoting yourself to get into these? Yeah.
In the second half of it, in full transparency, this is all very, very new, right? So Cxmmunity was something that came about earlier this year and like actually formed probably 3 months ago. So as far as promoting ourselves as a entity, we haven't really done much. So this is actually the first probably like public time I've brought it to light, because I wanted to wait until I actually, shared it with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And then second, so starting on Monday, we actually have a TV interview with the local news broadcast here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome.
So this is kind of like my kickoff branding of like a long series of like podcasts, interviews, press releases, because now this year we're actually going to be like bringing all of this into light. What really, really helps is that, again, my board member, and actually like basically my right hand with this whole project, he's an adjunct professor, and he's actually teaching the first course within the HBC.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So like now just being able to leverage those points, going to all the other schools, going to different high schools, city governments, etc. We have like some solid foundations of how we could actually help and like kind of start decreasing diversity issue in the
at that point. It's not just a theory of how you can help, it's actually this is what we can do, and this is how it's going to work.
So now I get that a lot. So I work with like a lot of high school athletic directors, because what's ended up happening is esports is a cool industry. The high schools want, and then they just place that on people that don't understand esports or gaming. So the opportunity is massive for us to then come in and educate, because if you just think about every athletic director basically in North America is now responsible for esports. They didn't ask for that. That wasn't like a desire of theirs per se.
And they might not even know about it. They might not even game themselves. So,
but they still have to figure it out. And so we're the figure it out for them guys, more or less.
Make their lives easier, which is that's perfect. Yeah. So you're doing a lot of kind of PR work and that kind of thing. Do you think in esports there seems to be there's like a massive I guess focus on streaming, being on YouTube. Do you think they are actually as important as a lot of people say they are?
I think it's important if you're going to take it seriously and you understand that it's not a 5-month journey or process. So I think a lot of young people these days, they see their favorite influencers, on Mixer, Twitch, whatever. And like, hey, I want to do this. This is cool. And I think the instant gratification that social media has now created, people forget that these guys that we're watching, they've been doing this for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They did it before it was a global phenomenon. So I think that's very important if the kids that they're in it to like stick in it, like they're going to stick through. So that's a long way again of saying, so yes, they're phenomenal to go on if it's going to be used properly and used in longevity. Because it's funny because now like a lot of my friends, younger brothers are kind of like coming up in the streaming era. And some of them get it, some of them don't, some of them put in the time, some of them now are starting to see like some profits from their 2 to 3 years of streaming.
Oh, are they nice?
Yeah, and then others just like they gave up and just threw it to the side, So I think the people's in the world. There are ones that do and there's ones that do not.
Yeah, and it's like you were saying earlier about it's kind of all about that hustle as well, and just being out there, being visible to people, getting involved in the community. I guess streaming and that kind of thing is a way to get involved. Yeah, so
when you talk about like hustlers, it's funny. You guys may have connected with Herb May on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like it's funny. So like Herb, that's like my guy. So we're both met here in Atlanta. This is like a cool testament. When Herb and I both met a year ago at DreamHack Atlanta, neither of us were doing what we're doing now.
Really?
So when I met Herb day one of DreamHack Atlanta in 2018, that was my first day in esports. And when I met him, he was still working for the NFL. And so then you look at like what he's doing now, you would never tell that's only 1 year's worth of work.
No, you'd have thought he's been in that for a good 5-10 years or something like that.
But when you just look at how things are matriculating, people kind of tell me the same thing. Oh, you must have been in this for years. Like, okay, whatever. But it's just like once you are given an opportunity, and then going back to like that execution, and then you hustle, and then you make a good name for yourself. you end up being in those type of positions nonstop. So like when me and her, like that's literally my guy. Like
that's amazing.
So I just bring that up to say like people that hustle, like when you look at putting out content, you have to engage, you have to get in comments, you have to post. Like you literally, it's work within itself. It's work before you actually have to do the work.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are kind of like straying away from now. Everyone just like wants to throw something up on social media and hope everything comes. Like we're kind of like losing that grit a little bit.
Yeah, it is one thing you have to just keep going at it. And like you were saying, that there are streamers that we know now as these massive streamers, but they've been doing it for 7 or 8 years. It's not going to happen overnight.
No.
You've got to keep plugging away at it. Yeah. So.
Well, the only time when I was streaming as well, it was hard to get people on board, and as soon as I sort of touched social media and started posting, I was going from like 2 viewers to like maybe 20 or 30. I know it's not huge numbers whatsoever, but just it's the difference between the two. You know, not do it like you say, the work before the work. I was just doing the work at the end.
You were just trying to get the big stream.
And then people, I hear this a lot too, is that they don't want to keep going because they feel like their followings aren't big enough. I think a lot of it could be like hey, I'm doing this and no one's like jumping on to watch. So it could be kind of like that, like a little small insecurity of like, okay, maybe I'm not good enough at this. But again, it's just like one of those things where time is the true teller of the truth. Like if you truly are good at the game, if you're charismatic, if you're consistent, people will find you.
Yeah,
and like it's just how the way of the world,
the
way the world works is that you just put it in time.
Exactly, and to start with, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be particularly.
I was like 20 viewers, 2 to 20. That's 10x.
Yeah.
Like whether it's big or not, like you 10x your viewership.
Exactly.
And next from that is 200, and then you just keep doing the same thing over and over. And then you'll be at 2 million, and then you'll get $500,000 for an appearance fee.
The only issue I found is trying to find the time, because I realised that quite a lot of them will have set dates, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something, at 7 till 9 every single week.
Nice.
Trying to keep up with that is a challenge.
And that comes down to being consistent again. If you set a streaming schedule and you tell people that this is when I'm going to stream, then it's just increasing the chance of people turning up, because they know 7 o'clock on a Thursday, Rory's going to be on. So I like him. I'm going to make sure I'm there.
And then also taking that content, kind of like what we're doing now, right? Taking your streaming content, splicing it up, and then dropping it on other social platforms as well, like Instagram. Drop your best clip of the day on Twitter. I don't think Facebook would be too useful.
No, Facebook's
it's like
downhill.
My parents are on Facebook and stuff. So,
I
think the point has been made. But I think that's cool.
And it's like, using I don't know if you're on TikTok at all yet.
I need to get on TikTok. I don't know what's taking so long. I need to get on TikTok.
You need to get on it. And I'm seeing a lot more gaming posts popping up, and some really interesting places, not just people recycling clips from their streams or their YouTube. There's also people creating content specifically for TikTok. I've seen quite a few game developers popping up as well, kind of explaining how they make games, which is really interesting, actually.
I need to get on TikTok. So look, you gave me, those that do or do not, I will get on TikTok.
Yeah, that's it. That's the plan for today. Just get on TikTok. I would say, a little word of advice, spend a bit of time going through it and liking things that you like, because of the way TikTok works, you don't select any kind of hashtags you want to follow, or follow any people or any genres that you like in particular. So when you first go on, it just shows you anything and everything.
Gotcha.
And as you start liking and commenting on things, it's like, oh, okay, this is what you like, so I'll show you more of that.
I got you. The algorithm is a little opposite. All right, all good.
It's quite nice because you can just get involved straight away, and you can scroll through it. And like with Instagram, when you go on Instagram, you're just faced with this empty page, and you're like, I need to find people to follow now.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, it's quite a nice way to do it.
And we get on TikTok.
Yeah.
I've always found Twitter's been the best for promotion, just from my personal perspective. I've always found we've got quite good interaction with Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah. I was really big on Twitter a couple of years ago. I kind of strayed away. But yeah, I actually have a note next to TikTok now to get reactivated on Twitter.
What would you say is the main platform you use then at the moment to promote yourself?
Instagram and LinkedIn are like my two platforms. Because for me, like I get so bogged down, and so I like the ability to see people's stories on Instagram. Just like stay up to date with friends and family. Like, okay, you're alive, you're here, boom. Twitter's like sensory overload for me. It's just too much going on. But I understand. Like, I'm an old man and a young.
Oh, I think it stalled up a little bit. Is it just me?
Social media networks do you use?
So, I mean, I'm signed up for the main ones like Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. So primarily just like those four. But after this weekend, I'll be on TikTok. So 5. So, but again, I primarily just spend all my time on LinkedIn and Instagram.
At the moment, they're definitely the best two to use. YouTube's always awesome because it's just a search engine. It's not really a social network.
Right.
But yeah, that's awesome. That's really good. Do you think, because obviously you've got those main two that you use, do you think there's potentially going to be a better option for gamers in the future that to promote themselves and to connect with gaming and esports?
I think there's always going to be something better than the previous thing, right? And then when you look at social just as a whole, social's only been around for like sub 12 years maybe, like right around 12, 13 years. And then you look at the consideration of the rest of life, like social media is still very much in its infancy. So I'm always still like curious to see like what is going to be that next big platform. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this platform called eFuse. These guys, so like I've been hearing that could be like the next big social network for gamers. I don't know, and this is a question I would pose, I guess, back to the world of esports and video games. Does there need to be a social media solely for gamers? Should there just be one new platform that's just representative and super inclusive of everyone? Like, I don't know, because I can see the value of having that, but in my mind, that's already like Xbox Live or PlayStation, like a big room for just gamers. I'm more curious to see like what is going to be the next big social media that aggregates a little bit of Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Twitter, and kind of makes this new massive platform that's not even like thought about yet.
That's quite an interesting way to view it. Kind of straying away from, I guess, niching down into going into
global. Because I'm like
global, more like you say, a more inclusive.
Because I just think that if you build a social network, and look, this is just me spitballing. I don't have all the answers. But it's like if you have a social network solely for gamers, what if all the gamers don't want to join your network, and then you only have like a little bit of people because you isolated yourself just to like this one target audience? So another like philosophy I have is like like gaming centers, right? Like these stadiums and pop-up recreation centers. I believe deep in my heart at the end of the day that there's always going to be more people that like to play video games at their house than they would drive and go play video games with other people. So like I keep seeing like all these stadiums like popping up like everywhere. And I'm just in my head, I'm like, who the heck is going?
No. And with things like Discord, and it's just it's so easy to talk to your friends anyway.
And so to specify, when I say stadiums, I'm really talking about the lounges, not the actual like
No, not like full on.
Yeah, not full on production. Yeah, that makes sense. It's challenging for me, and I just always use myself as a own case study. I'm like, I pay for my games, I pay for my controller, I pay for my Xbox Live, I pay for my TV that I played on. I don't know if I would get in my car and drive to then pay someone else.
No, it's I don't know about you, but I find playing games is this weird mix of being a very antisocial but social, I guess, hobby or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I don't want to have people around talking to me while I'm playing games because it messes with my concentration. But equally, I'm talking to people on the games I'm playing. So it's this.
It's a perfect balance. So like for me, I didn't share this earlier, but growing up, I'm an only child. So no sibling, none of it. So Xbox Live was like the perfect invention for someone like me because it solved my problem without having to leave my house.
Yeah.
So I could come home and have hundreds of friends, and I never really felt as alone. So like that's really where like how I got into gaming. It was just like it was like a personal community for me.
Yeah.
Even to this very day, like some of the guys I would play with when I was like 13 years old, like we still have each other on Xbox Live.
No
it's
way.
just cool how, like you just kind of like grow in like with these people that you've never met, but they're your friends.
Yeah, and they could be anywhere in the world. Which
I have no idea where. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just play games with them.
Get on Halo Team.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that transitions well into what is your favorite game?
So of all time, Halo 3, like hands down.
Nice.
That's a good game.
That's the game I've definitely spent the most hours of my life playing.
Yeah.
So Halo 3, followed probably by Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then followed by all of the NBA 2K franchises. Because that's an awesome game to me. And then I really like the Battlefield series. So like Battlefield Hardline, I think was my favorite one.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Battlefield 4 and then Battlefield 5 is like in that order. And I've only like played those games. Like those are the games I've only needed to play. Like I never cared for anything else. Like,
no, I do love it. Like I'm fairly similar. Like I feel like I've completed my game collection. I've got the games that I like. I play a lot. Basically, I play Overwatch, and if I can't play Overwatch, it's sometimes kind of more strategic, like XCOM or something. But I don't really play much else.
And it's funny though. Like this is an esports conversation. The games I play are rarely like esports titles. You know, like I'm not really big. I've never really been big into Overwatch or League or Dota. I'm not like when I play, I've never been PC. I've always been the console based.
Yeah.
So like even now, I'm like, hey, we're talking about esports and Battlefield is really an esport, but I'm like, that's not.
Can you imagine Battlefield as an esport though? That would be incredible.
No, that would be
awesome.
That would be insane. I don't even think it's possible. It's like just knowing how it's just too much playable space. It's way too much playable environment.
Yeah, it would blow my mind, but it'd be amazing.
Can you just imagine having like, how many is it you can have on a side? Is it 64?
64 on each side?
Yeah, imagine having 64 people you got to train up.
Crazy. It's insane.
I used to, I'm with you on Modern Warfare 2. That is, I still have it now. I still play it now. I've got thousands and thousands of hours on that game.
Yeah.
Classic game. I love it.
That was a good one. Thank you, Activision. You did a good job.
Yeah, you did a good job. And then it kind of went downhill for a bit. And
it went all the way downhill until I never had another Call of Duty until this most recent.
I'm the same here. When they started running on walls, I was like, I think I'm out, guys. This is not for me.
Yeah. Advanced Warfare. That was awful.
Yeah.
Hated that game. Modern Warfare 3. I like the new one though. I'm happy with the new one. I feel they've gone back to their roots a bit.
Yeah, it's cool. I like Modern Warfare.
And okay, so a little fun question we like to throw in is, when you're gaming, what is your favorite snack to have?
It's a good question. I always find myself eating like Nutter Butters, which is weird.
Okay.
I always eat Nutter Butters. I like Sun Chips.
Okay.
Sun Chips is Harvest Cheddar. That's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Do you not find it gets controllers a bit?
No, I'll be real with you. So like, I always have like, when I go to the gym, I always take like a towel home.
Okay.
I have like these towels, but yeah, like it sucks eating.
Yeah, so just a wipe off and back
Like
on.
wipe off really quick. I always drink Gatorade. Like Gatorade is just always been a drink of choice my whole life.
Amazing. What flavor, or I guess color? I base Gatorade by color.
Green and purple.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, it's not the classic
Yeah.
blue.
No, I'm all about blue. Anything
Blue.
Yeah, anything that's so artificially flavored or colored, you know it's going to be good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like my main go-to. But I would say like I'll always like try and get like a fast food meal, like my gamer meal, like
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell. Even though like it's so random, but it's just what I like to do.
Yeah,
You know?
that's kind of the game meal of choice.
For our UK audience, though, what is it Nutter Butter that you said?
Oh, so yeah, I don't know. I've never been in the UK. I don't even know. So it's like a peanut butter cookie, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like you know, like an Oreo.
Yeah.
So it's like the concept is the same as an Oreo, except the cookie is different, and the inside is like a peanut butter flavor.
Okay. That sounds quite interesting, actually.
I went over to Boston a couple of years ago and I had a few while I was there.
Yeah, they're good, right?
They're really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
You just never see them over here. I think the closest we get is Reese's.
okay.
Yeah.
But
It's not really a Reese's. Yeah, not really a Reese's.
It's not the same. It's like that's the closest we get to peanut butter and chocolate, I think.
Yeah.
And biscuits.
There you go. Well,
We have a brand called, I think it's Ye Olde Sweet Shop, and basically it's just a load of American imports, but there's not a massive range. I mean, the shops are tiny, but that's pretty much all we get over here.
And then
so we don't get huge.
Because they're all imports as well. You pay an absolute ton to
Yeah.
get anything. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've never been to the UK. I would love to come sometime. I've never been over there before.
Yeah, you should come over. Maybe. Not sure what events are coming up soon.
I mean, I would just prefer to come just to travel, just to like see the different parts of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Well, if you're ever near the London area, let me know.
For sure. Because like I have like a small list of UK people. Because now ever since I got into esports, that's when I started actually having conversations in the UK. So now it's like I have like a small list of people that I will like hit up when I come out there.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah.
And if you're ever in North America, don't hesitate. Well, so I guess if you're in Atlanta.
Yeah, because North America is
pretty big.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, I'm going to text. I'll be like, well, have fun.
yeah. There's no chance for meeting up. Yeah.
Actually, I might be there in a few months, potentially.
Hey, you guys should come up to DreamHack Atlanta.
I want to come over to that, but I might be there to actually meet some developers for my own thing that I've got going on in the background at the moment. But a couple of them are based, I think they're based in Atlanta. I need to confirm that, but they're definitely North America side.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Let me know.
Yeah. It'd be awesome to go to DreamHack as well.
Definitely. I really want to go there. I've been dreaming of going to DreamHack.
It's a good event for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So I think that pretty much wraps it up for the questions we've got today. If you want to take 30 seconds, a minute, or whatever you want to promote whatever you're doing, whether it's community or whatever you want, go for it.
Yeah, what I would say is for anyone listening, again, we have a nonprofit. We are a nonprofit. The only way that we operate is through donations, corporate sponsors, and like fundraising events. And again, so anyone that's open to helping kids that don't have the opportunity to be a part of this cool industry, I'm your guy. So like that's my shameless plug. I mean, we are community, and we do need help. So again, today's Saturday. On Monday, we'll be having that TV interview. So I know things are going to start picking up traction wise, like pretty relatively quickly. But for us, like that's where we need the most help is financial donations, because again, the money that we take in, we literally buy tech for the schools that don't have it and we put it there.
Yeah.
So when I look at like day by day opportunities being passed up, so like this is an ongoing issue. So community.co. And by the way, I want to say this. It is spelled community with an X. It's Cxmmunity. And I don't think I'll share this with you guys. The reason why we spelled it like that is, well, first and foremost, community is not available.
Yeah.
And the second reason is, so when you look at every console and then when you look at a keyboard, the only key that's consistent is an X on all of those. So when we look at that, it's like, hey, this is our way of saying that we're trying to we're trying to bring everyone to the table, not just PC, because a lot of the professional esports, but console, Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, like we're all together. So like it's our way of uniting everyone, bringing together. So
as a branding strategist myself, that's an amazing way of putting it. I love it. So we will put a link down in descriptions and in various places so that you've got a website. You were saying it's community.co.
Yeah. I'll send it to you just so that way you have it.
So we'll put a link in so that you can go to it and check it out, which would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so that's LAN Party for today. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned a lot from it, and we'll see you in the next episode. Cool.
See you then. Great talking.
Hey, thank you for listening to the LAN Party podcast. We hope you've enjoyed listening to it as much as we've enjoyed recording it. It's amazing talking to these incredible people. We're always looking for more people to come on, so if you're in the esports industry, just get in touch and let us know you're interested in coming on board. Also, LAN Party is a project that we're working on right now, and we are currently looking for investment to make it even more of a reality, to speed the project up, to make it better than it could be with what we've got at the moment. And we're also looking for developers who maybe want to come on board and work with us on creating this new technology that's going to change the face of esports. So if you're interested in that, let me know, just drop us an email and we can start the conversation.